Hello, everyone. I am Arnika Singhal, and on the behalf of Tech Mahindra, I am delighted to welcome you all to today's webinar on the topic Unlocking Manufacturing Excellence with Real-Time Insights, hosted by Tech Mahindra in collaboration with CrateDB. It's great to see such a diverse audience joining us from across the regions. Today, we'll be diving into how manufacturers can truly transform their operations using real-time data and solutions like EquipWise. We have an exceptional panel of speakers today. Mr. Steve Van Den Berg, SVP Sales at CrateDB, who brings years of experience in global data management and scaling software businesses. Mr. Sivakumar Muthuswamy, Global Head of MS Azure, COE at Tech Mahindra, one of the key minds driving Azure-led manufacturing and Industry 4.0 innovations. And Chandrasekhan Raman Validium, Practice Head of A&D and Industrial Manufacturing at Tech Mahindra, known for his deep expertise in IoT, industrial AI, and manufacturing transformation. So I'd encourage you all to stay engaged, drop your questions in the chat, and let's make this an interactive and meaningful conversation.
Hello, everyone. Steve Vandenberg from CrateDB. I will be presenting to you our CrateDB solution, which will be showing up on the screen now anytime soon. Here we go. Steve Vandenberg from CrateDB. Thank you for all attending. I'm honored to be here. And as just mentioned, if you have any questions on what I'm presenting or technical questions, please put them in the chat. We will have someone live responding. We're a partner from Tech Mahindra, from the Mahindra Group. Their DNA is manufacturing, and Tech Mahindra present around the globe, providing services in the IT environment to manufacturers and also solutions, which will be presented later on today. And this solution, EquipWise, where we have CrateDB in the background. What we do here at CrateDB is, our mantra is to help companies, whether they're small or big, participate in the data and AI revolution without spending a fortune. And we do this typically by providing a very cost-effective and performant database, which is ideal for real-time analytics and artificial intelligence use cases and machine learning. Typically, when we talk to organizations, their issues is scalability. It's scalability and also getting insight to information in real time. That is due because that information is just rising exponentially, whether it's coming from machines, from sensor data, from marketeers, from digital dust, and from systems which exist now, either Hadoop platforms, and especially manufacturers who have legacy systems who don't want to touch them, but do want to modernize them, put a layer on there to do artificial intelligence, machine learning, and monitoring. And to do all that, it costs a lot of time and money, and it impacts planning and operational costs. And typically, when you look at organizations, you have maybe some Oracle, you have these transactional databases like an Oracle, like a SQL Server, MySQL, or Postgres, which feeds CRM platforms, ERP systems. You have maybe a document store, which with JSON files. Then maybe you have a search engine, a search tool, or Elastic platform to find your documents. Then you have maybe some sensor data coming into time series databases, first generation time series databases like Timescale or InfluxDB. And then management coming in now to the IT team, because the trend which has been set by OpenAI now since 2.5 years now is the Gen AI stuff. And so we saw last year, the RAG pipelines developing, and this year it's all about AI agents or agentic, to feed your real-time analytics and different applications out there. All this is resources, it's people, it's expertise, it's time, and it's money at the end of the day. And this is pretty much where CrateDB plays. When we talk about linear scalability, you can have a cluster of 3 nodes with a terabyte and move that to a cluster of 6 nodes with 2 terabyte, you get the same response time. And that response time, typically with CrateDB, is in milliseconds. And we do that milliseconds on hot data, on warm data, and on cold data. The other trend which we see is database consolidation. We see more and more customers coming to us who have Snowflake, who have Mongo, who have MySQL, and who are spending $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, euros a year to support those platforms to do analytics. And we can do that with CrateDB replacing that at pretty much half of the cost. And then the other piece which we bring to the table, because the way we're built, and I explain that on the next slide, is we support AI initiatives. Not only do we support these AI initiatives, but the resources to do this, to get to these milliseconds, you don't need a lot of metal. You don't need a lot of machine resources to do this. So how do we get there? We combine the best of 4 worlds. On the NoSQL part, we have a column restore, almost like a Cassandra, if you're more on the technical side. So that column restore, this is where you have the high-speed writes and reads, where you have the distributed, the always on, the high performance, the high availability piece. We combine that with pure SQL. We have the Postgres wire protocol. So anything which runs on Postgres, you can do a lift and shift. And all of a sudden you got a ×4, ×5 in performance. And we can do that because we have that Postgres wire protocol. We're native SQL. And then the nice twist which comes with it, it's multi-model. We can take relational data, we can take objects, we can take time series, sensor data, geospatial data, full text search. And, I mean, any type of data can go into the database, and we can apply, do the LangChain integration and support the OMM embeddings. Where it gets quite unique now is that we're built on the Lucene engine. So the really cool part here is any data which comes in from a machine data or from a vehicle or from another application is indexed. As soon as it's indexed and it hits the database, you can start using it and work on it. And as we're built on the Lucene engine, we have the basis for the vector store and vector search. And I'll talk about that in a moment again. And then the really cool piece is this technology is the same whether we manage it or Tech Mahindra manages it for you on Azure, on AWS or Google. If you have it hybrid, you want to keep some data near the machines and you want to have some data in the cloud, or even on-prem and even on the edge. We need 2 gig of RAM and on a Raspberry Pi, and you can run CrateDB. It's all the same technology. So what happens? So you see that multi-model database, and we got the column restore, we got JSON, we got manufacturers. The sole reason why they choose CrateDB is the way we do JSON payloads. If this is a challenge for you, please reach out to your Tech Mahindra contact, or if you're Tech Mahindra and you have a customer who's challenged by this, reach out to us. Time series data, geospatial, blah, pretty much anything which is out there, it works. And we're schemaless, so dynamic schemas. When you're working on the model, on the database, you don't need to run it down to do your changes. We bring in intelligence with user-defined functions and foreign data wrappers. We've included now change data capture with Mongo, with Timescale, with Dynamo. So this is more here on the schema and on model side. And then we bring the goodness of the power from the NoSQL side, that column restore, the distributed engine, the always on. And all this is the same technology in whatever deployment format you have, edge, hybrid, on-prem, or in the cloud. And the super cool piece, it's native SQL. You don't need to learn another language. And we provide tools here so you can integrate pretty much any type of data, whether it's from an ERP system, applications, asset master data, telemetry data, what we're doing with Ola, unstructured input, PDFs, images, audio. That's what we do with TGW, who provide turnkey warehouses to Amazon, Zalando, Puma, and people like that. We're used for maintenance, predictive maintenance, to automate summary of tickets, and include even external data, for pricing, energy pricing, weather data. And if we can't integrate it directly, we work with our partners like Confluent, with Kafka. We work with Flink. We work even with now some MQTT vendors, like there's a small one out from Portugal, Coreflux. They secure that MQTT messaging, which you can bring into CrateDB and then feed maybe an SAP production planner. So all of a sudden, from this whole spaghettiware, which you're used to having, you can do a very simple ingest of information from machines directly into SAP. You want to do that ingest to do your real-time analytics and build your different applications. These applications to either get hindsight, to understand what happened 4 months ago in the system, to get insight, what's happening actually right now in the system, and foresight on the predictive side. So in a nutshell, this is what CrateDB is. And we combine that, we push that even further now with Crosshair.io, which is a partner which we have out from the Nordics, where we can integrate Aviva Pi data. So these databases on machines, we integrate that into Crate. So we have the edge data which comes in. We contextualize that data from CRM systems, from Salesforce, from SAP and others. And then you have access to the hot, warm, and cold data, any type of data you can pretty much imagine, all in one, to start doing your analytics, your forecasting, anomaly detection, and what we will present today, the super cool tool from Tech Mahindra, EquipWise, which we presented at the Hannover Messe in Germany earlier this year in April. Very successful and a very complete dashboard. And the other piece I've alluded to on that ML AI piece, and we see that ABB and TGW, bunch of words, I'm just mentioning some larger names now, or these large organizations, they start monitoring, doing analytics, and very rapidly they start building new use cases, AI. Typically the main reason, because now you have a single database which has structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data, which we handle with pure SQL. So typically users start using Crate for real-time analytics, then very rapidly, because we're so good on time series data and IIoT, they start building digital twin cases. Because we're SQL, we have that join on each twin and that link. Because you have that link with SQL, you can do your query on it now. And then also, now we're super strong in log analysis for event detection, database consolidation, which I talked about. Anything which has a lot of data or data intensive, as written here, is very good. In very short, CrateDB, if you have complex SQL queries, which take hours or minutes, we take those and bring them to seconds and milliseconds. This is what we do very good. Just talking about some customers which we have and a couple of words about us. Now, we've been around for, what is it now, 11, 12 years. We actually started on Elasticsearch. We stopped 1 year into it, went back to the drawing board because we couldn't get the performance on Elasticsearch. By 2017, we came out with our first customers. We're privately held and probably doing a round at the end of the year. We're in all marketplaces. Now, work very closely with Microsoft, with AWS and Google. We got some good market recognition, from the industry experts here, and very interesting one, which we got nominated by Google to their Springboard AI program last year with 29 other startups and scale-ups around the globe. We come out from Austria. We're present in the US and our remote team around the globe, but we're very proud to have won that. So we have over 17 million downloads, users around the globe, which go from, very small environments of 3 nodes to plus 500 nodes using CrateDB, feeding applications and doing analytics on it. Some of the users which we have, Zymatic, they're interesting. They sit in Berlin. They track what newspapers and television stations and who provide videos, what users are watching and doing while they're watching these videos. we mentioned this one because they analyze hundreds of millions of data sets a day. Alpha, I'll talk about that in a moment. The same thing with ABB. Marjan is a super interesting case. This is the typical one where we take hours to minutes every morning. Every morning they had with Synapse on Microsoft, going with a Talent ETL onto Oracle and SQL Server, and their query would last 3 hours 10. We would present like we did. They would download our database. They start playing with it because it's very easy to use. You can go to the CrateDB Academy to get some training certifications, 2 hours and a half. And they played with it and they called back, hey, Steve, it's interesting, but we got 2 hours 15. Can our experts work with you? Nicholas, who's here, who's answering the questions if you have any on the chat. Then he started playing with it, and we bring down the 2 hours 15 to 9 minutes. This is what we do. If you have complex queries, if you have a customer who has these queries which last hours, talk to us. Gunter, they do energy efficiency to optimize spendings on grids. We have a couple of use cases, a lot of use cases actually in the energy sector. Bitmoving, really like those guys. Now they compared us, and looked at other vendors out there too, like Timescale, and they choose to stay with us. They check regularly, with new stuff coming out in the market, and they stay with us. Their main reason is because with the other time series databases, they couldn't get so granular as they do. These guys, they track what people are doing on the set-top boxes when watching Formula One races. So, on a Sunday, these guys are busy. Sometimes they go up to 23 nodes. So that's one of the larger deployments. Ola Electric, for our friends from India who are on this call, they track almost over a million electrical vehicles now, where they get telemetry data. They combine that with 200 maintenance stations to do predictive maintenance on here. Thomas Concrete, I will talk about that in a moment. And Lumi Bank, Max IT, they track customer satisfaction, being able to say to customers when you call them, hey, I'm Steve Vandenberg, what did I spend on Christmas Day 25 years ago between 4 and 6? They can get that out in real time or in the chatbot. Ralph probably does not ring a bell to you. If you follow Formula One, Max Verstappen's Red Bull car, that yellow sticker on his left and right side wing, that's Ralph. Ralph is a bottler. They're in the food and beverage industry. So these guys fill up juices. They fill up also the Red Bull cans. When we started, they had 10 billion cans. Today, they do 14 billion cans. So they're very focused on overall equipment effectiveness, OEE, quality insurance. This was our main stuff here. We did some other use cases too, like building management, heat, water treatment, CO2 footprint. But the crazy part here is they do 33 cans a second, 120,000 cans an hour. So they get that sensor data from these 30 filling lines they have around the globe. They contextualize this data coming from sensors with SAP data, and in 0.03 seconds, so in 30 milliseconds, they put that into Crate on Azure, and with Power BI, they do their analytics and decide if this batch is production worthy and can be delivered. So what happened here, we're bringing this complex time series, nested JSON data and time series data from different production environments all into one. And we're very proud of this one because we took the error resolution from 3 hours to 10 seconds. What is 3 hours? 3 hours is 120,000 cans an hour times 360,000 cans in 3 hours with a value of $1.5 a can, $540,000 they would destroy and throw away if a can had too much taurine in it. This has been now reduced to 10 seconds. So very proud of this use case. Alpla, these guys do machines to do plastic bottles, and they have almost 200 plants around the globe, and they do this for Coca-Cola. And here we provide that data coming from these plants to thousands of users in a dashboard to track what's happening there in real time. Thomas Concrete, very interesting. When we're on the road driving to work, sometimes we see these concrete trucks. I had no clue that in these trucks, when they deliver the concrete, they keep the concrete at a certain temperature. And they're tracking this all the way from the where it's being poured into the truck, all the way to the plant we're doing the construction on the edge, not only to track with the traffic and where the truck is, but also when they start pouring the cement to understand how hard the bottom layer is, the middle layer is, and the top layer is. This is back in the US, we're doing that use case with CrateDB. TGW, they do warehouses, I think mentioned a bit earlier, for Amazon, for Zalando, for Co-op, for Puma. And the crazy part here is, I had no clue, 900,000 sensors per warehouse. All that information is ingested into Crate, where the initial project was monitoring, real-time analytics. Afterwards, they did event detection. Afterwards, they started looking at, combining the information they would get out from these warehouses, combining that with images into timeframes here to understand where a warehouse would come to a halt maybe 4 months ago to do the analytics on it, and then combine that with the digital twin initiatives, and now have a complete 360 view of the warehouse centrally based on CrateDB information. So this is very interesting because, get, again, different sensor types, different speeds, different sizing. And they have like 4 projects now. Please go to our website. We have some very cool videos how they optimize the picking lines to make sure a truck is delivering what it needs to deliver at 8 in the morning to ship. They also told Puma, if you guys, instead of putting your machines from idle into off at nighttime and during the weekend, you would win 35,000 euros a year. 35,000 is not that much, but when you got a couple dozens of warehouses, it's a pretty big number. With ABB, we're doing some tracking of ships to do from edge to cloud predictive maintenance on freight ships, combining that with AI. We did the initial product quality control metal sheets. We do some energy consumption here. We're showing some big names here just to show the volume, the sheer volume which we handle, and again to do increased OEE and quality control. That data coming, warm data every 10 minutes integrate from different sensors, cold data when it's only one node on a ship, which connects to a satellite, or when it comes back into the port, which feeds their Genix AI platform. And then on the energy side, we've replaced MySQL with CrateDB on where you plug your car in for the cities and the large corporations who have large fleets to track the consumption there, but also on the platform so you can track your electricity prices from the outside of the market, your purchasing agreement to track what's related to the cost you have on an external side, to have a combined view on all your energy spending and an efficiency to play on that side. So this brings a global overview of what CrateDB is. Typically, we start with real-time analytics and then go to digital twin and time series projects. And then often like 3rd, 4th project into CrateDB, they start doing and building AI projects with us. You can find much information on our website. We have the CrateDB Academy, where you can do a certification in 2.5 hours. We have the deployment assessment. If you have a project, you fill some information in, and we, with Tech Mahindra, happy to jump on a call, on a technical call, and see how we can structure this and how you can handle your data. You have my email and Stefano Longos at crate.io email if you have any questions. Thank you a ton for joining us today, and I will pass it over now to my friends from Tech Mahindra.
Thank you, Steve. It was a phenomenal talk on what CrateDB can do. So, and we are super excited looking at what it can make impact to the market business problems, right? So thank you so much for all the valuable inputs, Steve. My name is Shiva Kumar Muthuswamy, shortly Shiva. I'm heading the Azure Center of Excellence. I work predominantly across all the globe for manufacturing solutions on Azure. And I just wanted to give, before I start talking about more on solutioning sides, I would like to first talk about what is manufacturing vertical within Tech Mahindra. So we just want to kind of give a kind of a introduction. Uh, Tech Mahindra within, I mean, tech manufacturing within Tech Mahindra has a greater play, and we have been uh, scattering more than 300 plus clients, and we have been in the industry more than 25 years. And there are a lot of milestones that we have achieved. We have a great focus on automotive, discrete process, and aerospace and defense. And our main industry focus is to build a value chain that is efficient, sustainable, and safe. All our solutions that we provide for our valuable customers will circle around all these three areas. And when we talk about manufacturing within Tech Mahindra, we actually have various sub verticals within the vertical of manufacturing, and we focus obviously with the Mahindra's uh, uh, DNA with us. We have a large focus on automotive and also industrial manufacturing. We have been in the process manufacturing, aerospace, and metals and mining for long years, more than few decades, right? So this is the high level split, the way we operate and work on. What we do is we actually, while we serve the customers, we also wanted to make sure the industry 4.0, which is also right now 5.0 solutions are being added to our services in the form of service offerings, and we work as a partner to the customer to make sure we we focus on the outcome based delivery, and then ensure every attempt that we make in our customer place, we see a greater value proposition within the operations of the factories, right? Now, what we did is we wanted to first establish a kind of a platform where we have a research and development and showcase platform where we don't focus anything on the kind of a PowerPoint presentation. Rather, we wanted to give a phygital model, phygital experience to our customers. I would like to take this opportunity to invite all our esteemed customers and prospective customers to visit Tech Mahindra Manufacturing Experience Center, which got launched in the early of 2025. Right here, as I told earlier, we have been focusing on various sub verticals, and we divided those as specialized zones. Each of the zones focus on Industry 4.0 and 5.0 technologies. That includes IoT, AI, 5G, and whatnot, right? So, and all these solutions are there, and we will be able to interact with the systems. We will be able to understand what value additions that these systems can provide on the shop floor environment. We have a greater ecosystem play wherein we have partnered with many of the leading manufacturing players, wherein some of them I can actually highlight, like Gendamark, Beat, Rockwell, and of course we are into all the hyperscalers, AWS, GCP, and Microsoft. And recently we have also looked into some of the boutique capabilities like Ethon AI, wherein causal AI based solutions are there, and Groundhog and Viomastra, right? So I would like to request everyone to visit our manufacturing experience center. And CrateDB is one of our greater partner for this manufacturing center, where we collaboratively work together to build various solutions. And you will hear more solutions from us as we go on. Now, what was the output of this manufacturing experience center? This is what it is, right? EquipWise. See, with the collaboration that we have with CrateDB, and Microsoft, and our domain expertise, right? We were able to conceptualize a business problem, and we were able to bring in a tangible output that can really make a lot of value additions, which you will see in the upcoming demo, right? Now, EquipWise as a product is right now demonstratable, available in MXC, and we have been focusing on AI, data analytics, and IoT streaming of IoT data from the machines to the central cloud platform, which is hyperscaler. It is hyperscaler agnostic platform. So this started as a kind of a concept, and then POC. Right now, it stands out in the market as a product. Now, what is this EquipWise all about? Today, if you look into many of the industrial manufacturing company or any other manufacturing companies, they use a lot of machines within their manufacturing shop floor. Now, having said that, all of them are basically owned by them, or all of them are leased? Answer is yes and no, right? So most of the times, companies would not buy the machines and then own it. They mostly lease it. Now, maintenance of these machine, right? It's going to be a mammoth effort for any of the factory managers and supervisors to make sure the production line doesn't stop. My operational execution efficiency is all up at all the time, and my maintenance uh, is also optimally managed, right? So our solution focuses for all kinds of uh, machines that are being used across the manufacturing vertical. Now, what we do in EquipWise? EquipWise is basically an enterprise solution that can collect the data from the machines through IoT sensors and consolidate the data and do an thorough analysis of this data and take complete potential of these data to predict and give the kind of a prediction that can make the shop floor managers and supervisors and engineers to take decisions quickly without even thinking and losing time. Now, this is a major thing that is required for any of the factories to make sure one of our value chain I earlier talked about safety, right? See, while we are all very much interested and upbeat for a kind of operational efficiency execution, but the point is we will also have to make sure every equipment is safe in the factory, and that's something Tech Mahindra is always will look for, and all our solutions will have a complete focus on the three pillars that I talked about earlier. Now, what we do here, what are the features that we bring in here? Of course, we, as I said before, data ingestion, and we will also take all the time series data and then do a kind of a standardization, and we correlate multiple time series data and bring a meaningful value to it and perform the analysis. And also it gives you the smart prediction for, right? What are the outcomes we get out of it? It's enhanced efficient equipment availability management, and also monitoring the performance, and also it gives you the equipment lifespan in a way like uh, let's say the machine will be in a very good condition for 3 years or 4 years, and how do I actually extend the lifespan of it with the optimal maintenance that we do, right? And if you don't do a optimal maintenance, you will also end up losing lot of money on the maintenance cost. So the total cost of ownership also increases. So that should be reduced. And this tool, this I would not call it as tool. It is this platform will actually help across the factories, across the organization to make sure total cost of ownership is brought down significantly. And what more we need other than the real-time analytics, right? And we will also be able to do conversational UI. Now, many people have asked me when we have CrateDB, which we hear from Steve on how it can make a huge impact into the data and the way we retrieve the data. Many people have asked me saying, oh, why not MS Fabric? So my answer to that would be in 6 different ways. And I would like to go one by one, right? When we think about CrateDB, definitely data and analytics, where BI and centralized data lake platform that we look at, which gives a unified, what do you call, like a data lake and pipelines, which actually helps you to build a robust BI governance and platform. So definitely Fabric will help, and we can also look at the CrateDB for connecting from the Power BI kind of a platform. Now, when we talk about edge device management, of course, I'm talking here about IoT edge devices that's doing a telemetry data to the central servers. And CrateDB is the master there, and it can be scaled to any level, which I think Steve had alluded into a kind of a deep level, how he has implemented in ABB and other customers, right? And these telemetrics, the time series data, which can be a kind of a real-time data for us, and within milliseconds it will actually reach to us, and we will be able to do all kind of ML processing, or even for that matter analytics and predictions, right? Now, when we talk about native integration, I would definitely go for MS Fabric, wherein the native power of integration is always there, because it is brothers and sisters, and it is natural to have such kind of a thing, right? Nevertheless, we will also be able to have the connectors which is pointing to CrateDB. Now, the fourth point is time series data management. I think CrateDB scores big time here because it is a fully self-hostable and highly performing and scaling platform. And we have been testing this within our MXC to see how it can really scale out, and our experience is phenomenal, right? Now, the next one is, I would talk about data mesh, right? Easy governance and data mesh, definitely you will get it in Fabric. And because of the built-in purview support that we have, which we can trace the data, how it goes, right? And domain level ownership we can have by looking at the data. Last but not the least, right? The fastest SQL data retrieval on exclusively on the sensorized data, 100% we feel that CrateDB is the uh, platform to go for. The reason is it has the ability to handle both structured and unstructured data, semi-structured data as well, and that's a greater benefit. Now, we can also talk about what are the different Industry 5.0 use cases, what kind of outcomes that we would be getting, right? Now, when we look at that perspective, these are different use cases. I may not be going through every one of that in the interest of time, but I would definitely tell you energy consumption and optimization, if you are looking at in your factory, please look at CrateDB along with hyperscaler solution that we will be talking about. And predictive maintenance, digital twin analytics, which even Steve talked about it earlier, right? And human robot collaboration, feedback loop mechanism. These will actually improve cobot behavior and safety related stuff, right? With real time feedbacks and corrections as well, right? And it really gives kind of a the ability, the outcome you get out of that is diverse structured and JSON data is used for fast querying, and that is possible with CrateDB, right? And edge analytics is something that we need to look at. CrateDB integration is what my take would be, and because it has the ability, CrateDB has the ability to handle distributed architecture, right? And we will be able to analyze the data with all kinds of data probabilities and feasibilities that can really mount to a scenario which even any of the factories would not have thought through, right? Now, next to that, I wanted to call four business impact before I hand over the mic to Sandra. Number one, it's highly agile and cloud intelligence platform, wherein it allows factories to deploy CreateDB at the edge level, right? And also reduces the latencies, and also it sync smartly into the cloud environment. And that really gives the ability for factory people. Let's say we have an on-premise shop floor system, which is edge box, which is actually giving you the direct data to hand on. And with CrateDB queries, even if it goes to cloud and come, there will be a near real time, in my view, near real time dashboards, which will be a very less, which will have very less difference of time. Now, next point is quality and traceability, right? Logs every step of production process, and we collect this data and mission status information. Everything can be traced end to end for a line or factory or multiple factories, which you will see in the demo in a minute or two, in maybe in 5 to 10 minutes, which will actually give you the view like how can I see my whole of production performance across all the factories. And CreateDB makes huge difference out of it. And it is highly flexible with the schema that JSON and SQL works like a twin brothers, right? And fantastically gives you the ability to do the search, right? And downtime reduction. There's no downtime you would expect because it will actually help you to proactively predict the patterns that machines are behaving and failures that we are expecting with the large amount of sensors that are going in and all the data funneling in the data into the cloud platform with the help of CrateDB. And we strongly recommend that. Last but not the least, the real-time operation visibility is something that we feel uh, every factory employees are literally requiring a real-time operational visibility to understand how my line or station or factory is performing. Okay, from the level of factory engineers to the level of supervisors on the top management level, and with the high ingestion capability performance and the quicker SQL queries, CrateDB scores 200% when you have an intelligent solution built in Industry 5.0 with IoT, IIoT sensors attached to the machines till the analytics. CreateDB plays a major role in between to enable the systems around these solutions, quickly get the data and analyze. I think with that, I would like to thank you all and pass the mic to Chandra. Chandra, over to you.
All right. Thanks, Steve, and thanks, Siva, right, for setting up the context and giving a beautiful overview on CrateDB. I'm here to show you the same thing in action, right? So let me take the screen. And let me know once you are able to see my screen. Right? Okay, all right. So as you have said, right, EquipWise is a solution which makes your equipment wiser, and hence your business operations, especially the shop floor activities, becomes a lot more wiser. The way how we do is we collect the IT, ET, and OT data from the shop floor and various business applications, consolidate everything into one place, and then perform a variety of analysis on the top of the data, which gives us a decision which is sent back to the system. Right? So that is how the loop works. What I call it as a, the data-driven decision. Here the key is the IT, ET, and OT data. So this comes in structured, unstructured, time series, semi-structured, all these different forms. So if I try to architect a data storage for all these various data storages, I will either end up with having multiple databases like SQL, Cosmos DB, Redis Cache, and so on, or I just go with CrateDB, which handles all these things beautifully for me. We took the CrateDB as our core database, where we are now able to inject data from various sources in various shapes and forms, and we are able to query it, get the data for all our analysis, like the agentic AI, the computational services, and traditional AI as well. So the way the architecture looks pretty simple. So from the customer's data sources, be it enterprise systems or from the factory floor systems, we collect the data and then we inject it all the way to the Azure cloud, and then we perform a lot of analysis. What you see over here is on the edge, we have the CrateDB, which is used for data caching and any edge analytics. And also we have the same CrateDB in a huge cluster on the cloud, which is used for heavy lifting and heavy analysis, which runs on like millions and millions of data points. So with this, let me quickly jump to the demo. I know that I have only another 5 minutes. So in this demo, we should be able to see various business functionalities or business benefits which Siva was explaining. But in the interest of time, I may be handpicking few of them, and then I will open the floor for the questioners. Okay. All right. Okay, so the solution EquipWise, as I said, right, it harness the power of CrateDB, get the data, and then perform a whole lot of analytics. What you see right now on the screen is the output of those analysis. And each of these widgets, what you see over here, represents certain business aspects or functionalities of an equipment. For example, on the top, what you see is the standard OEE, which is the most important KPI on the factory floor. But however, we extended OEE to a next level, where we also included the energy efficiency as well as the leak or yield efficiency. So that is also a part of our calculation engine. And then the standard mean time to repair, mean time between failure, all those calculations, for which we need a data spanned across months or years. We are able to harness it very easily. And then you have the costing engine, which talks about how much operating cost a particular equipment is incurring. That is based on its energy consumption, its actual yield, its maintenance interval, the spare part replacement, and its overall useful life. It's a very complex calculation. So for example, if you go and look into the cost analysis, we need to go and look into the efficiency of an equipment. Every equipment has a specific efficiency curve, and we know that at one particular speed the equipment produces the best efficiency. But when we are at higher demand on the factory floor, we tend to run it at a higher speed, which will result into higher power consumption, higher maintenance cost, uh, replacement of the equipment, immature replacement of the equipment, and so on and so forth. So all those things we take into consideration to do the calculation. And also to do this particular calculation, we need to fetch IT, ET, OT data from the database, and thanks to CrateDB, we are able to now get it from just one data store. Right. The few more other use cases are like, as you all know, over a period of time, the equipment health keeps on decreasing, whereas my production demand keeps on increasing. So at one point of time, in this particular case over here, that is September 2026, your equipment capacity will no more support your demand, right? So beyond that, you will have an opportunity loss. So you have to replace your equipment before that. Even to get this particular calculation, we need to look into the mean time to repair, mean time between failure, its equipment performance and availability for a very prolonged period of time, quite often 10-15 years, in order to get this graph. Right? So all those things we are able to do this. And then what you see over here is the widget for predictive maintenance, like a single element like vibration, multi-element like the process telemetry data, and so on. Also, we are able to inject the calendar, the equipment calendar, the actual versus the scheduled. All those things goes over here. And each of these widget, we do have a drill down, which takes a way more deeper analysis for those widgets. For example, the other way that we can say is, instead of looking into one pump and then see how the pump behaves, I can also go and look into a holistic view, which is purely based on the IEC 95 architecture, as you see over here. And as I drill down, the system goes two more level deeper and then figures out if there is any alarms being identified as a part of predictive maintenance, EHS, environmental health safety, or any standard operating procedure breaches, or any of that sort. Right? So when I go over here, it says that pump 1111A is low on health. So when I go and select that, the widget changes a little bit, and then it says that your equipment availability is decreasing, and it will drop below 40% in 24 months. So these are all the various analysis which we do. And if you want to know that, you just go to the other KPI screen and then figure out why the equipment availability is slowing down. So now you can see that over a period of time it was flat and then it stops dropping. So when you project it to the future, that is how the system identifies. So we have a lot more analysis over here, as you can see, but I am not going through each of these lines because I know we have only another 6 minutes. We also need to open the floor for the questions. The takeaway from this demo is the CrateDB plus a very advanced data analytics plus very robust data pipeline is all about the EquipWise, and that is in action. So with this demo, I would like to hand over the floor for the questioners. Let me stop sharing.
Please feel free to ask any questions.
Yeah. And also you can always reach out to me or Steve or Siva at any point of time if you have any queries. If it is specific to CrateDB, Steve, anything on techno-functional, I should be able to help you out. And anything on how I can put it in a hyperscaler, how I can scale it up, how I can do the assessment for this, all those things. Siva is always there to help you on this.
So we have something like, yes, there is a question.
Can we extract reports from EquipWise? Yeah. So the way how the model works is, right, we have the database as a core, that is CrateDB, and then usually what happens is you'll have a Power BI kind of thing sitting on the top of it, which extracts the data and then shows you all the BI charts. But in EquipWise, it is a little bit different. So you have the data and then you have a analytical layer on the top of it. So when I say the analytical layer, it can be as simple as a algebraic calculation or a statistical calculation, a traditional AI, or the latest Gen AI, right? Anything of that sort. So we have an analytical layer, and what it does is it takes the data and then transforms that into information. So that information goes into the reporting tool, whatever you would like to use, like Power BI, Tableau, anything of that sort, and there you can see the reports. You can also use the same analytical layer, pretty much similar to a agent in an agentic AI scenario, or a REST API where you can fire your query. Say, for example, to give you an example, I want to know the health of my equipment, say pump 101A. Just fire a REST API query and the system should be able to. And then you can say how this was predicted. So once you ask that question, the system will tell you how that particular prediction was done. Is it based on FFT or is it based on infrared camera sensing, and what kind of calculations are done, all those things. Similarly, if you say that how long my equipment will run before I want to replace the equipment. So in this scenario, I need to look into the equipment availability, the equipment performance, and your organizational demand growth. So considering all those things, the system should be able to give you the answer, and that you can access it either from the describing to the analysis and the volume of data that you are injecting. For example, let us assume that you have 100 equipment and each equipment has 10 parameters. Right? So you have 1000 parameters which you are injecting, let us say for every 1 second. So that is the volume and velocity of data for which you will pay. The second is, let us assume that you are subscribing for 20 analysis. One is for OEE, energy yield, and another one is for predictive maintenance based on multivariate analysis. Another analysis is predictive maintenance based on acoustics and vibration, and so on. Right? So let us assume you have subscribed for 50 such analysis. So depending on the complexity of the algorithm, we have set a price tag for this. And every time when you consume that analysis, you will pay for this. So that is the way how the licensing model works. It's purely pay as you go model.
So just to add on to what Chandra said, right? So we will, like we use the OpenAI tokens, this will also be
Exactly.
the same way, right? And the purpose we are doing this is to make sure customers pay when they really use the solution. Otherwise, we don't want them to penalize to pay for the services that they have actually subscribed but not using, right? So that's the kind of stuff, right? So
Yeah.
Thank you, Chandra and Siva. I guess we don't have any more questions. Thank you, Steve. It was
All
a
right.
very insightful session.
Link for
Oh,
accessing.
sorry, we do have a
EquipWise.
question.
So we will get back to you on this. As of now, it is within our Techum environment. Either Techum can access or CrateDB can access. But if you would like to have access, we will get back to you. Or maybe we'll set up a call with you to discuss on this.
so maybe we can have an offline conversation. We can enable the tenant for you as a kind of a pilot, and we will be able to give you that access, and you can connect your devices and then do the telemetry also.
Right.
If the solution will
Yes,
be
we are
available.
planning to have this solution in Microsoft Marketplace in the mid of August, maybe later part of August. But right now, the verification is going on with respect to the security architecture from the Microsoft architecture group. And once that is completed, the process is complete, this will be in the marketplace.
I guess we are done with the questions.
I
Thank
think
you, speakers.
Yeah, we
we
can.
are on the top of the hour. Actually, we have exceeded 2 minutes. I would like to thank you all for spending time with us today. Appreciate Steve and Chandra um, talking about valuable inputs that can really be a game changer for the manufacturing customers and service providers. And looking forward to all of you to connect us anytime. You have our contacts as well as Steve's contact as well. Please feel free to reach us out, and we will see you all in the next session. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Bye bye.
Bye bye.